Global Rift Authority Archive File. Subject Designation Null Tier 01. Classification Catastrophic. Time to event when subject was first identified. 37 days. Time to event when subject became the most watched person on Earth. 42. Cause of reclassification, contact with anomalous dimensional phenomenon. Site, Pacific Rift Aquarium, Neo Seattle. Subject, night shift maintenance staff. Reading at first scan, Tier 0. Threat assessment, insignificant. The Global Rift Authority was wrong. This is the recovered file, compiled from cross-jurisdictional sources, remember eyewitness accounts, and a tablet of research and a folded letter, handed to us by a woman the record only calls dead. The events depicted have been corroborated across 3 independent timelines. Before he was Tier 3, he was Tier 0. Before he was Tier 0, he was the maintenance guy. Null Tier. Book 1 of the Resonance Trilogy. This is the file. Act 1. Days 1 through 9. Personal scale. Pacific Rift Aquarium. Pre-dawn shift. The graveyard hours when the public exhibits are dark and the rift creatures press their faces to the glass and watch the maintenance kid who talks back. That human is Kai Nakamura. 22. Aquarium maintenance. He has worked the night shift for 4 years. He has never missed a Frank. Frank is a fire salamander, house cat sized, ember orange. He likes Kai. The other 2 salamanders haven't named themselves yet, but they show up for the show. Bug arrives. Marcus Webb, 21, security tech. Official job description Rift sensor maintenance. Actual job description make bugs experimental scanners not catch fire on city property. Red hair spiking in directions physics would not endorse. He has a tablet. The deep rift in the lower wing has a pulse rate, and the pulse rate has been climbing all night. 47 beats per minute. 52-61. Bug calls it a hiccup. Kai believes him. Then Kai hears music from the sealed storage wing. The wing has been decommissioned for 6 years. The music is not on any speaker. Bug hears nothing. The salamanders go still. Davis, the security guard, end of shift tired, intercepts Kai at the cross corridor, then lets him pass and heads off shift. At the end of the decommissioned corridor, reality cracks open, 12 inches across, 3 feet off the floor, a perfect circle of pure black. Not a glowing portal, a hole. The absence of light, not the presence of it. The music is coming from inside. The Global Rift Authority's pre-convergent safety doctrine is 1 sentence long. Do not touch the void. Kai touches the void.
Get back from it. Kai, get away.
Bug arrives at a dead sprint. One hand white-knuckling a scanner, the other a flashlight. Mouth open in a panic he will replay every night for the rest of the book. Kai is on the floor, his eyes are glowing. A heads-up display materializes in Kai's vision. Numbers only he can see. They are wrong about him in a different direction than the Global Rift authorities were wrong about him. The authority said Tier 0. The display says climbing. And then he is 7 years old, on a wooden stepstool in his mother's kitchen, flipping a perfectly golden pancake. The world outside the window has no rifts, the park has no barriers, children are not being watched. Yuki Nakamura's calloused fingers are guiding his hands on the spatula.
Remember this.
He comes back to the corridor weeping. Bug doesn't know what he saw. Bug doesn't ask. Bug picks Kai up off the floor and gets them both moving. The aquarium's security alarms go up. Containment is being dispatched. Kai stops at the emergency exit, looks back through the building toward the rift he can still feel humming. The provisional classification updates one last time before he steps outside. Ends Chapter 1. The maintenance guy is gone. The man who replaces him does not have a name yet. 20 minutes through Neo Seattle rain. Kai's eyes are still glowing. The heads-up display will not stop scrolling. The absorption rate is at 52% and rising. Meu Deus, your eyes. Uncle Davy catches the mocha pot before it hits the floor. Uncle Davy was on site at the Convergence epicenter 10 years ago. Uncle Davy recognizes the moment. Yuki warned him this exact thing would happen the night before she walked into a void rift. Bug runs his jury-rigged scanner over Kai at the kitchen table. The scanner's display has no number for what it sees. He drops the readout next to the mocha pot and says the thing that becomes the spine of the entire trilogy.
You aren't Tier 0, you were never Tier 0. The GRA's tools couldn't read you. Whatever you are, it doesn't fit on their scale.
The original reading wasn't merely conservative, it wasn't merely a misclassification, it was a sensor failing to find an instrument that could measure the wavelength. The Global Rift Authority called him Zero because they had no number for him. Your mother used to call you a bridge, Kai. Said you carried frequencies from both realities at once. That you were how we'd win back everything that got taken. Kai has not heard his mother's name said out loud in this room in 9 years. Davi has been waiting 9 years to say it. The promise is finally coming due.
GRA containment is dispatched. Aquarium response, full team, 20-minute ETA.
Kai stands. The mop is in the closet. The bucket is at the aquarium. The maintenance guy is on file, but the maintenance guy isn't going back to work. End chapter 2. The reading was wrong. He is done being a number in someone else's spreadsheet. 4 blocks from the harbor, Kai watches the parking lot of his own workplace from his bedroom window. Global Rift Authority vehicles, 12, then 16, then more than he can count without leaving the window. He can still feel the rift humming in his sternum. Bug feeds him updates from the food truck below. The GRA has found the void rift. The storage wing is locked down. Kai's biosignature is on every surface he ever mopped, which is every surface in the building. Over a plate of eggs and rice he can't eat, Davy tells him the rest. The night before she disappeared, your mother came to me. Scared, in a way I had never seen her. She said someday a void rift would appear at the aquarium. She said you would hear music nobody else could hear. She said when that happened, everything would change. And then she told me to take care of you. And then she was gone. Davy hands him a cardboard box. Inside, a pre-convergence tablet of Yuki Nakamura's classified research. Beneath the tablet, a folded letter in her handwriting addressed to her son. Across town, a Global Rift Authority agent files Priority Alpha. The night shift maintenance logs put a single name on the aquarium floor when the void rift appeared. Within the hour, that name will be on every screen in the regional office. Kai picks up the letter. End chapter 3. The world knows now. So does he. Dawn over the harbor. Kai reads the letter at the kitchen table. The handwriting slants the same way it did on every birthday card he ever received until he was 12.
The moment they can measure you for real is the moment you vanish, the way I vanished. Forgive me for not staying. I won't apologize for the reason I left.
Bug arrives. They power up Yuki's old tablet. It boots from a pre-convergence operating system that hasn't been distributed in a decade. The files inside are an archive of the world the Global Rift Authority insists never existed. Origin data from the convergence, charts of void frequencies, barrier readings taken before the barrier even existed. The Authority has been calling all of it conspiracy theory. Kai's heads-up display has stopped scanning only rift energy. Now it scans everything. Bug's blood pressure, displayed as a slowly green-tinted bar over his head. The food truck's stress-fractured axle, traced out in red below the floor. The harbor's ambient rift energy, drifting like fog above the water. The second memory unlocks without warning. He is no longer in the kitchen, he is in a recording studio. Vintage chrome microphone, tape reels turning, afternoon light through tall windows in a building that, in his real life, has been demolished and replaced twice. A woman is at the microphone. Her name is Sarah. She is recording a song, and Kai knows it the way he knows his own name, though in his real life it no longer exists. Everyone in the studio hums along, because everyone here has known it their entire lives. Sarah's voice changes mid-phrase. It is his mother's voice now.
Hold on to what was taken from us. Hold on to everything they buried.
2 out of 10,847. The Global Rift Authority's energy spike sensors find Kai's location. They have minutes, not hours.
Sora Tanaka, Rift Medical Response Unit. I know her. She can read what's happening to you faster than any GRA medic, and she hates the authority more than I do.
Davy already has the bag packed. He has been ready for this morning for 10 years. End chapter 4. 2 memories down, 10,845 to go. Rift Medical Response Unit, Annex Building, off the GRA-monitored municipal grid. Davy parks the food truck in the alley with Bug and waits. Kai goes in alone. Sora Tanaka meets him in room 3. 24. Asian American, athletic, black hair pulled back into the working ponytail of someone who has been on shift for 14 hours. A work vest pocked with rift-sealed pouches, bloom rift scar curling up her right forearm, green glowing in low light. She does not introduce herself with her credentials. She introduces herself with one piece of professional courtesy.
Void rifts don't make sound. That's how the field has been classifying them for 10 years. So when you tell me you hear music from a void rift, you understand what you're describing.
He understands. The diagnostic chair maps him in 5 minutes. The results take her 3 sentences to understand and several seconds to decide what to do with. Cellular absorption rate climbing at 4.7% per minute. Past Tier 4, past Tier 6, past any number the equipment knows the name of. A second nervous system of void energy threads is growing inside his circulatory system in real time. If she files this through normal authority channels, Kai is inside a black site by morning. If she doesn't file it, she risks her career and possibly her life. She decides in roughly the same amount of time it took her to read the chart.
Twice weekly check-ins. No reckless rift exposure. If anything changes, I hear about it before your uncle does. Are we clear?
They are clear, and then the heads-up display fires its first non-personal warning. He can feel it pulling, not metaphorically, the same way iron filings feel a magnet. The void in his chest wants to introduce itself to the ember rift down the street. Sora does not hesitate. She grabs her medical kit and follows him out the back exit. Davy pulls the food truck around. Bug brings up the scanner. The crew is now 4. The bench is now functional. 3 blocks to a rift Kai has never seen before, running toward it on instinct, with 3 people on his heels who have already decided the maintenance guy's problem is their problem now. End chapter 5. The crew is assembled. The world is on fire. Time to find out what he can do about it. Behind Shen's Market, on 18th, the brick wall is smoking. Heat shimmer is coming off pavement that was wet from rain 10 minutes ago. The world is about to tear open along the alley wall and nobody on the block knows it yet. The tier is jagged, not a perfect circle this time. A wound. Through it, a landscape of black volcanic glass and orange-red sky. The first 2 ember salamanders crawl through. The first one is the size of a Doberman. The second one is the size of the dumpster behind which an older delivery driver is currently trying not to make any noise at all. The convenience store has an industrial fire extinguisher. The convenience store has, until this morning, considered its industrial fire extinguisher to be the most expensive item on the inventory. Kai does not ask. Kai grabs.
Fire department's here.
He plants his feet. He lifts the extinguisher. He reaches into the place in his chest where the void rift had been humming since pre-dawn, and the air around him bends. 6-foot bubble of warped space-time. Reality slowed inside it to roughly 70% of normal. The larger salamander lunges through the bubble's edge and finds itself running through molasses. Kai's heads-up display catalogs the new ability in real time. He hits the salamander with the extinguisher. The salamander, frozen mid-air, takes the entire canister in the face. The driver behind the dumpster runs for it. Sora covers the exit. Bug live streams the readings. Davy has the truck blocking the alley mouth. The smaller salamander has more sense than its sibling. It looks back at the volcanic landscape with what reads, on a creature its size, as something close to dignity. Kai aims the foam stream into the rift itself. The dimensional connection destabilizes. The rift seals back to a flickering brown smear on the brick. Both salamanders, large and small, scrabble back home through the closing tier with their tails between their legs. The crew assembles at the alley mouth. First time we see all four of them in the field. Bug is grinning. Sora is checking Kai's pulse. Davi is checking the security cameras to see how much the city saw. And then the hovering Global Rift Authority response vehicles round the corner. They will arrive at the scene in approximately 90 seconds. The crew leaves through the back. The empty extinguisher is propped against the dumpster like a trophy nobody wanted. 3 more breach alerts fire across Neo-Seattle within the hour. 2 of them are Ember. One of them is something the heads-up display can't classify yet. The Global Rift Authority's response time, by official policy, is 25 minutes. The crew is operating on a response time of approximately 8. End Chapter 6. The night shift has a new job description. 4 nights of work. 16 rifts closed. 4 Emma. 5 static. 3 deep. 3 void micro tiers. 1 bloom. Pioneer Square. A static rift in an alley behind a closed boba shop. What comes through is not a creature exactly. It is a translucent jellyfish made of crackling electricity drifting on currents Kai cannot see. It is lost, hunting for the way back, and slowly cooking the alley's wiring as it drifts. He leans on the time dilation he has been practicing all week. He talks to it. He picks up an ability the heads-up display labels Rift Diplomacy and immediately removes from his combat tree. He sends it back the way it came. He learns, between the second and third sentence, that Rift creatures are usually refugees. They are usually scared. They are usually trying to get away from something worse than they are. Myrtle Edwards Park. A bloom rift the size of a manhole cover, hanging in the air between 2 dying oaks. Bloom rifts make spores. The spores make plants grow. The plants make oxygen. Bug's Authority Handbook says to close it immediately. Kai refuses. The spores drift up the trunk like glowing snow. The oak resurrects in time-lapse. Then the rest of the park's struggling green budget. 3 other oaks, a row of stunted maples, a half-acre of grass that hasn't been green in a decade, comes alive too. Bug's monitoring app logs Kai's bio readings during the event. The spores are healing Kai while Kai is healing the park. Morning 4. Davi corners him in the kitchen above the food truck. Coffee, cereal gone soggy. A man who has been awake for 36 hours sitting across from another man who has been awake for the same. Your mother pushed at exactly that pace, and didn't ease off when she should have, either. I carried Tier 3 once and chose to walk away from it. I'll walk back the day Bug's gadgets quit on you. But tonight you rest. No argument. Kai takes the night off. He sleeps for 14 hours. And in the sleeping he unlocks the 3rd memory. Not grief, this one. Wonder. He is no one. He is a fly on the wall of a pre-convergence laboratory. A woman in her 60s, Dr. Naomi Okafor, brilliant, alive in a world he never got to live in, is the first scientist on Earth to see the universe's resonance frequency on an oscilloscope. She is not crying, she is laughing, she is calling her graduate students into the room. She is saying the line that the Trilogy will quote 3 more times before it is over. The universe sings. He wakes up with Tier 1 complete and Tier 2 climbing fast. New void-tuned senses come online. He can hear conversations in the apartment across the street. He can read the electromagnetic signature of every electronic device on the block. He can tell which neighbor is microwaving leftovers. He can also tell that someone is watching him. And then Bug's emergency text arrives.
Storage unit, now, bring everyone.
End Chapter 7. 3 memories down. Tier 2. Observer detected. The world is no longer small. Act 2. Days 10 through 24. The personal becomes structural. The Global Rift Authority becomes a name and a face. The mother becomes audible. Bug's Marina Storage Unit. 3 monitors, 2 laptops, 1 wall of frequency waveforms, 1 mug of cold coffee. Every major rift in Neo-Seattle is acting up at once. Bug's screens are stacked end-to-end with red. The Aquarium Void Rift has stopped emitting random energy. It is transmitting structured data. The structured data is the melody Kai has been hearing in his bones since the morning he touched it. Pier 70. A deep rift tears open across the loading dock. Gravity distortion field reads at 45 degrees off normal. A delivery truck, driver still inside, begins to spiral toward the event horizon. Soro's already on site at the edge of the safe zone. The authority has thrown up a 3-block perimeter. Kai walks into the gravity field. The asphalt ripples like water under his boots. Streetlights bend into spirals around him. Void light burns under his skin. The drag of the deep rift, which would have killed any other human within 30 seconds, simply does not seem to find him. 20 meters in, his perception unhinges. The rift is not a black sphere. The rift is a doorway. There are slow lights moving on the other side of it. The lights notice him. Tier 2 completes during the rescue. The lights on the other side of the doorway are still watching. The next memory unlock is the 4th so far. The 2nd this week. 7 years old. On his mother's lap. Rain on the windows. A Japanese lullaby he has not heard since he was 12.
Yume no kawa wo tadotte, hoshi no umi he.
The lullaby traces a dreaming river out toward a starlit sea. At 7 he hears only a beautiful song. At 22 he realizes it is a set of coordinates. His mother had hidden the route home inside a Japanese lullaby, trusting a 7-year-old to carry the melody. He extracts the driver from the truck. Sora medical cover stories the entire incident past the responding GRA officers. Bug intercepts the official sensor logs before they leave the local subnet. But they sneak back into the aquarium afterward, because Bug has new data. The aquarium Void Rift's transmission has flipped polarity. It is not sending anymore. It is receiving, downloading something. 6 hours until completion. The rift has doubled in size. Geometric shapes, impossible polygons that hurt to look at, are folding through it. Underneath the alien melody Kai has heard since day 1, there is a new harmony.
Yume no kawa wo tadotte.
The lullaby. His mother's lullaby is in the download.
Whatever swallowed my mother, this is it arriving, and it isn't finished with the rest of us.
End Chapter 8, Tier 2 complete. Lullaby identified. The rift is no longer broadcasting. It is being broadcast to. Kai cannot stop humming the pre-convergent song from his memory unlocks. The melody Sarah was recording in the studio. 5 hours and 43 minutes on the countdown. He hums it to Bug. Bug feels a recognition he cannot place. The tip of the tongue sensation of trying to remember an entire childhood that was never available to him. He hums it to Davi at breakfast. Davi goes pale. Tolvays, could be, or could be I'm just an old fool chasing ghosts. But she's been on my mind, that tune, she used to hum it, at her desk at home. The last night, before she was gone, I told myself I'd invented the memory, something to keep, you know. Bug uploads the song to Soundshare anonymously, titled Before, just to see. 50,000 plays in 40 minutes. The comments read like a single voice fragmenting through 50,000 bodies.
I started crying and I couldn't tell you what for. I have it on repeat. I have never heard it. I have always known it. My whole childhood is sitting right on the edge of my memory, just out of reach, and I'm 38 years old.
Bug finds the answer inside the waveform, void energy embedded as a carrier signal in the song's frequency structure. The song is not a song, the song is a key. It is unlocking suppressed memories at scale. The Global Rift Authority flags the upload within the hour. Voss issues a personal order, find the source. The song begins disappearing from public servers. By midnight, Before is on roughly 600 private playlists and no public ones. By morning, the Rememberer subculture will have copies on 600 more. Kai's heads-up display receives an incoming void transmission. Coordinates: 47.6205 degrees north, 122.3493 west. The Cascade Research Institute downtown campus, Yuki Nakamura's old facility, sealed for a decade. The trap is obvious. He is going anyway.
I will monitor every minute. If you go quiet for more than 90 seconds, Davy is in the truck before the sentence is finished. Understand?
He understands. Kai geared up alone. The mop bucket is still in Hall Alpha, propped against the closet wall where he left it the morning the rift appeared. He passes it on the way to the basement service exit. He does not pick it up. End chapter 9. The song is loose, so is the trap. Davi's food truck. Almost midnight. The neon is on. The grill is cold. Kai stops on the way to the coordinates because Davi asked him to. Because Davi finally has the rest of the story and Davi is not going to send him into the trap without it. Kai rolls back his sleeve. The void energy traces his forearm in black lightning frozen under his skin. Tier 2, visible to the naked eye now. I was on site at the Convergence epicenter. Response team sanitation detail. They didn't tell us what we were sanitizing. Your mother was there because she was the only researcher in the building who would take readings while the sky was still bleeding. She held a probe against the wound of reality for 6 hours and then she came down to the loading dock and she ate a meal I cooked for her on the back of a transport truck and she said one sentence to me before she got back in the elevator. She said, "This was not an accident. This was a doorway, and someone opened it from the other side." She believed the convergence never destroyed the world that came before. It just painted over it. The earlier world is still down there, under ours. The rifts are seams where it leaks through. She walked into the void to prove she was right. And if she pulls it off, if the old timeline comes back, everything made since the convergence unravels, me included, Bug, Sora, the whole city over our heads. The weight of that sentence will sit on Kai's chest for the rest of the trilogy. Davy spots the car across the street. The car has been there since Kai arrived. The car has not been there before tonight.
Come find me, Kai. The first resonance people are in every corner.
2 agents step out of the car. Davy sets his apron straight. Davy walks them right into the front of the food truck and offers them coffee with the wattage of a man who has been managing first responders since before they were born. The agents lose 3 crucial minutes in his charm. Vai cum Deus, Sabrino, go find your mother. Find out what really happened. And if you've got it in you, find some way to spare both worlds without grinding up the people stuck in the middle. Kai slips out the back into the alley, the void in his veins folding him into the shadows where the authority scanners cannot follow. Davi is still pouring coffee. End chapter 10. The overwrite is named. The cost is named. The mission is named. 6 blocks from the Cascade Research Institute, the Global Rift Authority seals the district. Drones overhead. Containment vehicles converging from 3 directions. Tier 2 against a tactical perimeter built to contain Tier 5. Pushing through would be suicide. He retreats to Bug's Marina storage unit. For the first time, Bug shows Sora the entire setup. 3 monitors, 2 laptops, 1 floor-to-ceiling whiteboard, a jury-rigged scanner that cost $6,000 in parts and looks like it was built out of a coffee machine. Bug demonstrates. Every time Kai's absorption rate spikes, the aquarium void rift's signal adapts. They are in a 2-way conversation. Whoever is on the other side of the rift is reading Kai in real time the way Sora's diagnostic chair reads Kai. Whoever is on the other side has been reading Kai since the morning he touched the void.
Last time you advanced, your cells put out something close to a small reactor's worth of energy. A rift won't be what kills you, Kai. Being Kai will. There's only so much living tissue can hold.
And then a second signal appears, different from the aquarium rift, corrupted, hostile, coming from the industrial district northwest of the marina. They track it. Warehouse. A burned ring seared into the concrete where someone had tried to force a dimensional link open by raw power. The Global Rift Authority arrives within minutes of the operator fleeing. The operator was not the authority. The operator was a professional with military-grade equipment. 3:17 in the morning, the Convergence's anniversary. The countdown on the aquarium rift hits 0. Nothing comes through. No invasion. No army. Instead, every rift in Neo-Seattle synchronizes, the entire city's dimensional damage vibrating at one frequency, Yuki Nakamura's frequency. She was not opening a door for an invasion, she was establishing a connection. She has spent 10 years on the other side of the void, building a bridge. Kai opens his void sight. Across the rooftops of Neo-Seattle, between every rift in the city, he sees the thread of connection. The network is real. The network has been here for years. He has just been the only one who could see it. And the second signal, the hostile one, the brute force corrupted void resonant, is still out there, spiraling closer, following the same map Yuki built, 3 blocks from the marina now. 2, 1. End chapter 11. The bridge is real. The authority sealed Yuki's lab, and something else is coming. Pre-dawn at the aquarium. Kai sneaks back in through the service corridor he used to mop. Every rift creature in the building has gone silent. They do not go silent for him. They go silent for predators. The octopus tank is the only exhibit still lit. A woman is standing in front of it in immaculate Global Rift Authority charcoal, her collar marked with 4 silver bars, a compass star insignia at the shoulder. Tier 4 handler, Lin Chen.
Mr. Nakamura, 4 hours I've sat here. I know about the energy surges. I know about the breaches you've been sealing. I know what's in the storage wing. I'm giving you the chance to hand it over freely, before I'm ordered to take it by force in 2 days.
She hands him a silver memory metal card. The card is already recording his biometrics through his fingertips. 2-way diplomacy with a recording device. Authority on both sides, in both senses. Across the marina, bug screens flare red. The hostile void resonant, the one with the corrupted rift, the one who has been following them since the warehouse, is 1 street from the storage unit. Sora pulls up new intelligence on her end.
That assessment isn't an assessment, it's a collar. I've seen the scans, the brain physically rewired, absorption throttled for good, obedience dialed up. They'll tell you it keeps you safe, it keeps them safe from you.
And then Bug drops a piece of family history he has been carrying since Chapter 1.
My brother, Daniel Webb, runs the regional office as agent director. The second Kai's file flags priority, it lands on his desk. He had Thanksgiving with us last year. Kai sat right beside him. He'll know the face in that photo.
And on the rooftop of the building across the street, the second void resonant arrives, wreathed in stuttering black and gold void fire. Void dark eyes all the way through, translucent skin in places where cellular cohesion has begun to fail.
Found you.
She steps off the rooftop. She falls sideways through the air. She is gone before any of them can move. End chapter 12. Lin is named, Daniel is named, Mira is here, and the 48-hour deadline has just become a much shorter clock. Mira texts Kai. The number is not in his contacts. The text is in the heads-up display, not on the phone. Rooftop, come alone. Sora argues against it. Sora loses. The rooftop, wind off the harbor. Mira Okafor is in her mid-30s, former music teacher. Void touched 3 years ago through a corrupted rift in her own classroom. Her cellular cohesion is at 64% and falling. She has been in hiding ever since the authority took the third resonant 2 years ago.
He hunts us because we can see the overlay, because we can see the world underneath this one. The authority calls it void contamination. We are the only people on Earth who remember the pre-convergence world is still there. I knew one other void resonant, Marcus Klein. The authority took him during a routine evaluation 2 years ago. I have not heard from him since. I have not heard from anyone who was taken in.
Mira reaches for Kai's hand. Their void energies synchronize. For the first time, Kai sees the layered worlds with another person to share the seeing. The reality before the convergence and the one after it layered one over the other, like pages of a book held open in a tabletop display. And beneath both layers, in the gap between the pages, something else is watching back. The Global Rift Authority tactical line materializes from the shadows on the rooftop. The lead is in front, helmet off, eyes on Kai, Daniel Webb, Bug's older brother, the agent director. Mira does the only thing she has left to do. She opens a void fold at Kai's feet. She tells him the only thing she has left to say.
Tell Amara her mom loves her, in every version of this. Tell her mommy never forgot the songs.
Mira phases out, scattering into the void rather than dying. The network holds her together. She has weeks of consciousness left, no longer fixed to a single point in space. The void fold she opened stays open just long enough for Kai to step through it. Daniel Webb does not give the order to fire. Daniel Webb watches his brother's friend disappear into the void. Daniel Webb's weapon stays low. The tactical line waits for an order that never comes. Then they pack up and leave. Kai emerges into a wet alley somewhere on the other side of the harbor. He does not know how Mira's void fold worked. He does not know why Webb did not fire. He does know that a woman just dissolved herself into the void to save him, with a message for a daughter named Amara, who is somewhere in the city right now, probably asleep. End chapter 13. Mira is scattered into the void, dying but not yet gone. Webb is conflicted. The brothers' arc has begun. Renata's grocery store. Friend of Davi's. Brazilian goods. Sacks of rice. Dried spices. A backroom stockroom with no cameras and no rift sensors. The crew reassembles in the only safe room left in the city. Kai tells them about Mira. Kai tells them about Webb. Bug puts his head in his hands and does not speak for 2 minutes. Then he asks one question.
Did he see you? Did he know it was me?
Kai does not have an answer. And then Davi puts something on the folding table that he has not put on any table in 10 years. A bound folder. Yuki's research notes. She handed them to Davi the night before she disappeared, with instructions to give them to Kai when he turned 21. Davi held them an extra year. She'd tell you exactly what I've always said, the two of you pig-headed right to the finish. I'm sorry I held back so long. I was scared the year I'd promised you would be the year you were taken from me. The notes confirm what Davi had already told him about the convergence as overwrite. They add what Davi did not know. The convergence was not natural. The convergence was an attack. The rifts are not random tiers. The rifts are strategic entry points. The entry points were chosen. Yuki's prediction map. Hand-drawn. 12 years old. Read the tents marking exactly where void rifts would appear in Neo Seattle. The aquarium is the first X. It is the first one to come true. There are 6 other X's still pending. Yuki's analysis names the stakes. Tier 10 is a dimensional key. It either prevents the breach or completes it. Voss has been suppressing tier advancement for 10 years because he is not sure which side wins. He is not a true believer. He is a man hedging. Lin's deadline arrives early. 4 hours, not 48. Bug starts a counter on the wall of the stockroom. They have until 0500 to plan, train, and execute. And at 0500, the aquarium's void rift spikes. Yuki appears at the dimensional barrier, hand pressed against the inside of the containment glass, mouthing words Kai cannot hear. Then the containment case shatters.
Yume no kawa wo tadote.
The wall between worlds is not breaking. The wall between worlds is being asked to step aside. The wall between worlds is starting to listen. End chapter 14. The research is out. The deadline is moved. The mother is visible. Void containment shatters. Void energy pours out and resonates with every other rift in the aquarium at once. 3 more breaches open in the space of 45 seconds. Ember, deep, bloom. The aquarium is no longer a building. The aquarium is a junction.
Get everyone out. I have the rifts.
Bug, Sora, and Davi move to evacuate the building. Kai moves to the eastern wing. First, the Ember, a 12-foot magma construct, then 24-foot, then big enough to put its fist through a load-bearing wall. Kai uses the void distortion bubble. The construct slows. Then he tries something new. He hums the alien melody back at the rift. Counter frequency. The rift's dimensional resonance collapses. The construct dissolves into orange-red smoke. The wall stops shaking. The deep rift. Observation deck. Gravity waves cracking the building's foundation. Kai void steps for the first time in his life. He steps from the maintenance corridor into the gravitational dead zone over the deck without crossing the floor in between. He fires a void spike into the rift's weak point. The seal closes. The metal water ocean visible through the tier pulls back into its own dimension. The bloom rift, medical deck. The seductive one. Bioluminescent flowers blooming through every surface. Vines covering the equipment. The spores want him to lie down in the garden and rest. He almost does.
Yume no kawa wo tadote.
The lullaby comes back through the void. The seduction breaks. He slices the rift closed with a blade made of compressed void energy. The garden curls in on itself like a flower folding at sunset. Tier 3. The heads-up display calls it Wave. New abilities lock in. Void Step, Memory Echo. And the memory unlock that comes with the Wave tier is not a kitchen and not a lullaby. He is 12. His mother has taken him to a concert in a park where cherry trees are still standing. The band is playing the pre-convergence song. The petals drift through the music. His mother brought him for the trees just as much as for the music. The petals are the point, the song is the rapper. He returns to the original Void Rift. The rift has reshaped. The hole has become a doorway. The doorway has a frame. The frame is geometric and clean, and edged in cold gold. And through the doorway, on a laboratory floor in a place that does not have a postal code, stands his mother, 10 years older, hair silvered at the temples, lab coat still buttoned to the throat, alive.
This rift is safe, but only in your hands. I tuned the frequency and fixed the geometry for you alone. Go to Building 47C, the old university lab. There's gear waiting there. Then come find me, once you're strong enough.
She presses her hand against the edge of the doorway from her side. He presses his hand against the edge from his side. The doorway closes. End chapter 15. Tier 3. 5 memories. Cherry Blossom Concert. First real conversation with the mother in 10 years. Aftermath of the cascade. Kai on the wet floor of the high-security wing. The aquarium is structurally compromised. Sirens in the parking lot. Drones at the windows. Lin Chen walks in alone. Her uniform is wet at the cuffs. Her face is unreadable.
That event measured as a Tier 7. You produced it at Tier 3. The energy differential alone should have killed you. And it's the largest discrepancy the authority has on record. You are why my deadline got moved up. You are also why Director Voss is calling me in 2 minutes.
The video call comes in 2 minutes. Lin answers. The audience sees director Elias Voss for the first time. 61, tall, gaunt, silver hair swept back, pale blue eyes, an immaculate dark suit. The air around him distorts slightly, the way air distorts around very deep rifts. He recognizes Kai instantly. Kai Nakamura, 22, son of Dr. Yuki Nakamura. He is to be detained tonight. Use the entire response wing if necessary. Lin tries to detain him. She tries half-heartedly. Kai void steps. The world around Lin slows for 15 seconds while he leaves. She does not speed it up. She lets him go. Crew extraction. Davi drives. Bug navigates. Sora rides in the back with one hand on Kai's pulse. They drive to Building 47C in the abandoned industrial district. The university lab, sealed for a decade. Power off, doors propped open. Yuki has been preparing this homecoming for 10 years. The back wall of the lab is papered top to bottom with photographs of Kai, from infancy up through his 12th year. Birthday parties, school plays, family barbecues. The wall ends where she vanished. Every photo from before she walked into the void. A record of the years she got to have with him. A computer terminal in the corner of the lab begins typing on its own. Yuki's final message, scheduled to deliver on the day Kai reached Tier 3. The text appears one line at a time.
The convergence was an invasion, and Voss has helped bury that since the very first month. You're the key, written into your genes. Reach Tier 5 and the overlay goes transparent. Tier 7, you can start prying it open. Tier 10.
The signal cuts. The terminal goes dark. Lin's text arrives in the silence the terminal leaves behind. Mandatory registration, tomorrow at 0900. No exceptions. Kai chooses the third path. Bug will build a signal dampener disguised as a medical patch. Kai will walk into the Global Rift Authority Processing Center wearing it. The scanner will read him as Tier 3 with anomalous void-adjacent properties, and the authority will file him at Tier 3 and send him home.
We do not run. We do not fight them yet. We walk in. We lie to their machines. We walk out, and then we keep working.
End chapter 16. Voss has a face. The third path is named. The lie is on its way. Global Rift Authority Processing Center, downtown. Glass Tower, 6 checkpoints, a Tier 3 appointment slot on a Tuesday morning. Kai walks in wearing Bug's signal dampener patch on the small of his back where the spine meets the lumbar nerves. It looks like a flesh-tone medical patch for an old back injury. Processing Bay 7. Lynn presides. She has done 1,000 of these. She has done none of these where she knew the subject was lying. The scanner is invasive, threads of light tracing across his skin. The dampener holds. The readings come back as Tier 3, with annotations for anomalous void-adjacent properties. Lynn signs the file. She files him at Tier 3. She does not escalate to extended evaluation. She gives him a business card with a different number than the one printed on it.
I joined the authority to protect people, all people, including, sometimes from us. If you need that number, use it once.
Bug's parallel scanner, hidden in the duffel bag Davy left under the bench, was running through the entire registration. The real reading is 430% absorption, off any human scale by a factor of 4. Sora has been monitoring the city. The song that Bug uploaded as before has triggered a global nostalgia phenomenon. 3 million plays in 72 hours across mirrored servers. People calling themselves rememberers. People sharing recovered memories of a pre-convergence world they were told they never lived in. People showing up to flash mob hummings of the song in public parks. And the Global Rift Authority's first official mission assignment for the newly registered Tier 3 wave class arrives at his apartment within the hour. Deep Rift Survey. Cascade Mountain Research Complex. 72 hours. Yuki's mountain facility. The one her notes named. The one the authority sealed when she disappeared. It is not a deployment. It is bait. And Davy opens a closet he has not opened since the morning Yuki walked into the void. Inside it is her field gear, pre-convergence, handcrafted, breathing apparatus tuned to a void-saturated atmosphere, glove woven with conductive thread, scanner inscribed with symbols that are not any earthly script. She made this for the next person in the family to need it. I have been waiting 10 years to give it to you. I would have given it to you years ago, but she asked me to wait until you were ready. Kai pulls the gear on. It fits. It was always going to fit. End chapter 17. The lie is in. The bait is set. The gear is on. Act 3. Days 25 through 37. The personal becomes cosmic. The architect is named. The mother is found. The city remembers. Transport helicopter. Cascade Mountains. 500 feet up. The deep rift below covers roughly the footprint of a small island. An enormous oval of dark blue energy at the remote facility the authority sealed when Yuki disappeared. His team in the back of the helicopter, Jin Park, Ember Type, Tier 4 team lead with Zara Blake and Tomas Reyes, veteran, suspicious of fast advancement on principle, suspicious of Kai's specifically.
Inside the rift you move when I move. No improvising, no grandstanding, you do what I tell you the instant I tell you. Fail that, and you're dead. Understood?
Zara Blake, static, technical specialist, the team's encyclopedia. She likes Kai immediately because Kai is interesting and Zara is bored. Tomas Reyes, Bloom medic, quiet, watches everyone closely. They descend. The rift opens around them like an alien underwater cavern. The walls of stone are breathing in slow pulses synchronized to the rift's heartbeat. Bioluminescent creatures the size of dinner plates and the size of city buses drift through energy water in colors that do not exist in the visible spectrum. And then the team's lights catch the walls. The walls are carved with writing. Kai's heads-up display translates in real time, pre-convergence origin script, but the dates the inscriptions refer to are 30,000 years old. The convergence was not the first incursion. The convergence was the latest. Depth stalkers attack, 20 of them. Predators, 8 feet long, eyeless. They do not feed on the team. They herd the team deeper into the ruins. Kai realizes within 15 seconds that this is the kind of intelligence that should not be in a creature without a face.
This is old. Pre-convergence is not even the right phrase. This is geological.
Kai walks on stone the way the rest of the team walks through water. Void sight tells him which surfaces are real and which are projections. The team notices.
We are going to have a conversation about that. Not here. After.
They reach the chamber the Depth Stalkers have been herding them to. It is vast. Every surface is carved. The carvings repeat one phrase in 100 languages, some recognizable, most not. The narrator does not need to translate the carved phrase. The display does it for him in 3 iterations across the chamber's surface. And on the far wall is a relief sculpture in stone older than human civilization. The face is Yuki Nakamura's, arms outstretched, void rift behind her rendered in cold gold inlay, prophecy script encircling her face like a halo. The architects, whoever they are, have been waiting for this bloodline. Not for 10 years, for 30,000. End chapter 18. The rifts predate the convergence by tens of thousands of years. Yuki's face is carved in pre-human stone. The maintenance guy from Pacific Rift Aquarium is by inheritance the key the carvings have been waiting for. Back from the mountain. Authority debrief. Non-disclosure order. 8 hours of professional silence. Kai signs everything they put in front of him. The crew gathers at the Marina storage unit and waits. At 2300 hours, they finally get inside the Cascade Research Institute downtown. The address the Void coordinates first pointed Kai to, the one the Authority cordon turned them back from weeks ago. This is a different vault from Building 47C, the city archive where Yuki kept her research journals. Bug picks the medical wing's old magnetic lock with a piece of jewelry wire and a bobby pin. They descend 3 sub-levels. Her lab is preserved exactly as she left it on the morning she walked into the Void. Equations on whiteboards in her handwriting, coffee mug with a chipped handle, photograph of 8-year-old Kai grinning gap-tooth taped to a monitor. The journals reveal the entity that has been watching all along. The architect, ancient, vast, multistellar in age. The architect contacts emerging civilizations through music, the only language complex enough to cross dimensional barriers. The architect runs civilizational tests. Most fail. The failure mode is the choice of safety over evolution. The other failure mode is the choice of evolution over compassion. Yuki's plan was the third path between the 2 failure modes. Synthesis. She would walk into the Void to find a way for both realities to coexist. She knew Voss had begun killing her colleagues. She sealed the real research behind a gene lock that only Kai's DNA could open. The quantum core, a basketball-sized crystalline sphere on a stand at the back of the lab, activates the moment Kai's hand touches its base. Holographic Yuki materializes, a lab coat thrown over a washed-out band tee, a pencil holding her bun in place.
My son is the key, not for being gifted, but for being untouched. No one's gotten to him. He hasn't been taught fear yet. The architect held out Tier 10 to our species as a way to rise. Voss answered with a boot on the neck. I went hunting for a third option. If this is playing, it means I'm near. Hold out for Dr. Elias Howe, the one person inside the Authority worth your full trust. He's been waiting on you since you were 6.
The facility alarms fire. The crew braces. Bug freezes mid-motion at his laptop and says the worst possible sentence at the worst possible time.
That lock I cracked? It was never really locked. We made it here because somebody meant for us to.
Service tunnels into storm drains. Bug, Sora, Davi, Kai, 4 people down to the sub-level 4 drains and out a culvert 6 blocks away. And in the alley is Lin, civilian clothes for the first time. She is alone. She has disabled the remote alert. She has been waiting.
Your mother gave me this 12 years ago, before I was a handler, before I knew what the Authority really was. She asked me to hold it until you were ready.
Lin presses a silver data chip into Kai's palm.
The trial was never about hitting Tier 10. It's about who you are once you're standing there. Your mother put her faith in you at 10 years old. I've had faith in you since the day we met in Processing Bay 7. Use the chip.
End chapter 19. How is named. The architect's test is named. The chip is in his hand. Marina storage unit, 3 in the morning. Kai slots the data chip into Bug's holographic projector. The lab fills with light. 3-dimensional Yuki materializes in the middle of the room. More present than any recording should be.
Elias Howe goes back further with Voss than any other scientist at the Authority, and he's been waiting on you. He's the one who handed you Ghibli soundtracks at your 6th birthday. 12 years he's kept his cover. When it's time, he'll find you, and you'll know him by the music he brings. The architect tests every civilization that gets close to Tier 10. The test has 3 options: transcendence, suppression, synthesis. Most pick transcendence and lose what makes them themselves. Some pick suppression and lose everything. Synthesis has almost never been chosen. A handful of worlds out of thousands ever reach the threshold. You're what it looks like when a reality starts to mend, Kai. The span between what used to be and what still might be. I don't mean that as poetry. I mean it as the literal work in front of you.
The hologram ends. The storage unit is suddenly cold. The text appears in Kai's heads-up display in cold gold. Bug screens glitch all at once and recover. The temperature in the storage unit drops 10 degrees in 3 seconds. Their breath is visible.
That was not Yuki.
The architect has noticed Kai directly. The architect has chosen to send greetings. The architect has addressed Kai directly by name, the same entity his mother spoke with for years. Its message transmitted through a void-tuned crystalline data chip in the back of a marina storage unit to a 22-year-old former aquarium maintenance employee. End chapter 20. First contact. The civilizational test has begun. Marina storage unit. Pre-dawn. Kai proposes the plan that becomes the spine of Act 3. Memory echo at scale. 30 seconds of remembered reality. Broadcast across the entire city of Neo-Seattle. 2.7 million people. The pre-convergence song embedded as carrier signal. The cherry blossom concert as the seeded memory.
The city's Rift monitoring network is a city-wide antenna. If we get on the aquarium roof and rig the array right, we can use the Authority's own infrastructure to push the broadcast at every neuron in range. They built the speakers, we just need the microphone.
Authority monitoring station is on the 3rd floor of the aquarium. There are maintenance tunnels under the building that predate the aquarium. The mop closet I used to lend you opens into the 3rd one. We have the route. 2 hours of crawling through service tunnels nobody under the Authority's pay grade knows exist. Bug rigs the broadcast array from salvaged equipment, fiber optic taps into the city's Rift monitoring grid, and a single $60 microphone he bought at a music store on the way over. Kai takes position on the aquarium roof. He has not slept in 2 days. He has eaten 1 granola bar in 14 hours. The city is below him in Rift light and dawn. His mother is in the void on the other side of the building's old containment chamber, watching through the geometry of the Rift. He has 30 seconds to give the city back something it has been told it never had.
Let's wake up the world.
The memory echo broadcasts. The signal travels at the speed of dimensional resonance, which is to say faster than electromagnetic. 2.7 million people inside the broadcast radius receive the memory simultaneously. At a coffee shop on 45th, a woman named Maria Santos freezes at her register. 43 years old, has never seen a cherry blossom in person. Suddenly she has the memory of a Saturday afternoon in Golden Gate Park in 2019. The petals, the band, the open sky with no rift burn in it.
I am at work. I have never been to Golden Gate Park. I have just remembered a Saturday afternoon I never had.
At a night shift desk in the Authority's monitoring center, an analyst named David Chen sees an unregistered resonance frequency populate his alert queue. He has spent 5 years learning to operate these screens. He looks at the readout. He recognizes a memory echo when he sees one. He deletes the alert manually. He logs off his terminal. He walks out the front door and into a city that is, for a single 30-second stretch, suddenly remembering what it had been. Most of the monitoring center is paralyzed for the duration of the broadcast. One analyst shakes off the echo after about 90 seconds, reaches a phone and escalates manually. The Authority tactical mobilization clock starts. 8 minutes to the aquarium roof. After the broadcast ends, Kai's heads-up display fires a new ability. He opens Void Sight one more time. Every void rift across Neo-Seattle is pulsing in synchronized geometric pattern. Lines of force connecting them. They are not random damage. They are anchor points. They are holding the pre-convergence world in place under the post-convergence one. They are the bones of the world he has been told never existed. The tactical team is closing minutes out. The crew evacuates through the service tunnels. The microphone stays on the roof. The broadcast array remains powered down by the time they arrive, which is the point. The authority will spend the next 12 hours trying to figure out how someone broadcast a memory at every brain in the city using the authority's own grid. End chapter 21. 2.7 million rememberers. Resonance network unlocked. The void rifts have a job. The architect has applauded. 3 days after the broadcast, the crew is hiding in maintenance tunnels beneath the now authority-occupied aquarium. Rememberer rallies in Pioneer Square. Authority propaganda calling Kai patient zero of a reality plague. Civil unrest. 2 cities on top of each other. Mira contacts them through the void network. She is dissolving. The synchronized rift array is keeping her conscious longer than her body can hold its shape. She has weeks at most.
That broadcast didn't only wake memories, it woke questions. 2.7 million minds now carry a faint thread of your void signature woven through them. They're tied to you, entangled, down at the quantum level. Every time you rise a tier, they feel the pull. Every time you bleed, that too. You didn't just hand them a memory, you handed them yourself.
The rememberer phenomenon is the result of void contamination, foreign influences. We are implementing mandatory testing for void contamination effective immediately. Detention facilities are being prepared. The authority strike team breaches the aquarium. 8 tactical agents, 1 Tier 6 enforcer with ice abilities. Lin is on scene leading the visible operation. The enforcer is in actual command. Lin telegraphs the move with her shoulders before she announces it. The crew flees deeper into the tunnels, past the maintenance routes Darby knew, into older, pre-aquarium architecture. The walls change material from steel and concrete to formed bedrock and braided cable. Bug spots the dates stamped into the cable couplings.
These cable dates read 1999. There is a facility under the facility, older than the aquarium built above it.
They emerge into an underground laboratory. Dust sheets over workstations. Blue rift light still humming from backup power. A classified 1990s research facility shut down in '99 and built over. Yuki Nakamura's first job after graduate school. At the center of the chamber, on a raised dais, is a vertical slice of perfect black edged in cold gold script. Yuki's final laboratory. The door she built into the void herself. Lin and the Enforcer arrive at the head of the tactical team. The Enforcer's hands are frosting up. Lin is 2 steps behind her, hand near her sidearm but not on it. Kai chooses the door. He steps onto the dice. Bug and Darby sprint from the tunnel at the last second and reach the threshold a heartbeat before the Enforcer's ice does. All 4 of them cross the threshold together. The door closes behind them. Lin's weapon rises a beat too late. The void closes. The Enforcer is left cursing in the dark. End chapter 22. Mira is fading but still alive. The lab beneath the lab is real. The door is open. The next chapter is somewhere else. The void deposits them in a chamber that has no entry and no exit except the one they came through, and the one Yuki built into the far wall. The walls are curved, black and gold inlay tracing the curvature in patterns that resolve, if Kai unfocuses his eyes, into mathematical proofs. The air smells like jasmine, their breath does not show. The chamber is a home. Yuki lived here for 10 years, but she is not here now. She pressed deeper into the void, toward the architect. The stabilizer is the one thread still tying this room to wherever she went. There is a cot in the corner with 1 folded blanket. There is a jury-rigged food synthesizer wired into the wall by hand. There is a small wooden shelf with personal effects. An origami crane Kai made for her in 3rd grade, kept on the shelf. A lab notebook with his crayon drawings from when he was 5. A Japanese language copy of The Little Prince, its pages soft from rereading. The shelf is a museum of a son she never stopped curating. At the center of the chamber is a basketball-sized sphere of perfect dark, suspended in spiraling crystalline conduits, the Void Rift stabilizer. Yuki's life's work, made physical, the point where this dimension touches her hidden one and is held in place by hand. Kai finds the recording station against the back wall. Yuki's final journal entry is dated 10 years ago. Kai reads it standing up. He does not get to sit down.
I could come home now? The stabilizer is finished. But if I disturb the calibration, the next void rift my son touches has a 23% chance of killing him instantly. 23%. I will not take that risk, so I stay. If you are reading this, my love, I am sorry, and I am not sorry. Both things are true at once.
A holographic Yuki materializes at his shoulder, recorded not before she left, but after 10 years alone in the chamber. Day 3847 of her exile in the void.
The architect's trial is genuine. The third road is synthesis. The two realities don't have to collapse into one, they can be woven together. Not one timeline erasing the other, but both living side by side, layered, with people crossing over whenever they choose. 10 years I've spent trying to prove it possible. I believe I finally have. So go on, save this world, or make a better one. You'll work it out.
Bug activates the stabilizer. The void rift opens into a perfect geometry doorway, slightly larger than the one in the aquarium, edged in cold gold script.
Hello, my love. There's something we have to discuss.
And behind Yuki, through the open rift, is something vast and luminous. A consciousness older than galaxies, fragments of geometry rotating in dimensions Kai's eyes can see and his brain cannot organize. The architect, present in person in whatever the word person means at that scale, manifesting visibly for the first time, no longer just a voice in the HUD. They speak for 3 hours. Yuki names the 11 anchor rifts that hold the dimensional overlay in place. She names them by location, by frequency, and by the colleagues who first observed them, many of them now dead, silenced by Voss. She names Voss's true reason for suppression. He reached Tier 9 years ago and deliberately stopped advancing because Tier 10 requires an act of will he was not willing to make.
He suppresses you because he is afraid of what you would be willing to do. He is not wrong to be afraid. The question is whether the thing you are willing to do is the right thing.
I accept the test.
Mother and son press their hands against either side of the rift boundary. The geometry does not let them touch. The light passes through to either side. End chapter 23. The mother is found. The synthesis is named. The architect is in the room. The test is accepted. Kai walks out the maintenance entrance of the aquarium into a Neo-Seattle morning. Remember protesters on the south side of the GRA cordon. Authority tactical line on the north side. News drones overhead. The crowd parts as he moves toward Pioneer Square. Lin and the Tier 6 enforcer are at the head of the authority line. Lin gives the order. She does it with the wrong tone of voice for an order. The enforcer hears the wrong tone.
Mr. Nakamura, stand down, return to processing.
Kai raises his palm. He reaches for the cherry blossom memory from Tier 3. He pulls. A cherry tree grows from his open hand. Green pearl of a bud, then a sapling, then a young tree 10 feet tall. Real bark, real petals, real fragrance. The first cherry tree in Neo-Seattle in 7 years. The crowd goes silent. Then the crowd begins to cry. Tactical agents lower their weapons without orders. News drones reposition for the wide shot. An old woman in a faded blue coat walks through the authority line. The agents do not move to stop her. She presses her hand against the fresh bark. She does not cry. She closes her eyes. She tilts her head.
It's coming back to me. The Cherry Blossom Festival. My grandmother brought me every spring. We'd walk Yesler Way together. She'd sneak me a second ice cream because my grandfather would have disapproved. 15 years I went without that memory. They told me I'd invented it.
She begins to hum. The melody is the pre-convergent song, Maria Santos's song, Yuki's song, the lullaby's song, the one carrier signal that has been propagating since Chapter 4. Dozens of people in the crowd join her, then 100, then a low communal hum is rising in Pioneer Square that the news drones pick up at full fidelity. The authority agents in the line lower their helmets to listen. At the authority's regional headquarters, Voss watches the live feed and gives the order for containment. The enforcer's hands frost up. She turns toward Kai. She advances 4 steps. And then the architect interrupts, speaking into Kai's mind. Not yet. Across Neo-Seattle, trees begin growing in unison. Cherry, maple, oak, elm, pushing up through concrete sidewalks, through asphalt streets, through the cracks in steel parking decks, through the roof of an abandoned mall, through the median of the Harbor Expressway. Every void rift in the city pulses in harmony as it happens. The enforcer stops mid-stride. The frost on her gloves melts on its own. She does not advance the 5th step.
This is what got taken from us. Not only the trees, the belief that tomorrow could turn out lovelier than today.
Kai Void steps out. The tree stays. The petals keep falling. The old woman keeps her hand on the bark. The square holds the silence. End chapter 24. Pioneer Square remembers. Neo-Seattle blooms. Voss has lost the city's heart. 3 days later, Pocket Dimension. Yuki's chamber. The cherry tree is still growing in Pioneer Square above. The city is still humming.
Pioneer Square footage is the most watched media in human history. 2.7 billion views in 3 days. They cannot unshow the people what they have already remembered.
Voss is about to hold a press conference. The framing has been workshopped. Misguided young man, foreign influence, outlaw tier 5 and above void resonance. Restore order, restore safety, restore the official version. Kai walks to the stabilizer. Yuki, visible through the rift, waves at him. He waves back. Mother and son, 10 years apart, separated by a doorway smaller than a manhole cover, in a chamber under a city under a different city.
We hack the authorities' press feed. I advance to Tier 4 live on his stage. In front of the world, in front of the 2.7 million people who already remember.
Bug starts the hack. 57 minutes to the press conference. Across Neo-Seattle, the trees are still growing. This uprising was going out live, whether or not the Global Rift Authority allowed it. Subject status, end of file, Tier 3, stabilizer active, mother located, architect engaged, 2.7 million rememberers active in the field, 11 anchor rifts identified, Tier 4 advancement queued for live broadcast on the antagonist's own stage. The Global Rift Authority called him Tier 0 because it had no instrument that could measure him. Just over 5 weeks later, the Authority has lost the streets. The press feed is about to fall. The first resonant is afraid for the first time in a decade. Book 2. Signal. The world is waking up. The first resonant is afraid. Subscribe to Nullset Press for the full Resonance Trilogy recap. Null Tier. Book 1. File closed.